Welcome all the future web developers to this webinar of full stack web development from Techburn. I would like to start. So the best preparation for tomorrow is doing your best today, as said by H. Jackson Brown Jr. So what Techburn is and how we take on how we take on the courses and all. This all things will be explained to you. How the program is going to start and everything I'll be explaining you in detail. So first we'll be talking about the company that what Techburn is. Then afterwards we'll be going on to the we'll be carrying out our guest Dr. Mr. Rahul Gupta. He'll be like explaining you everything about. He'll be starting the webinar on web. He'll be explaining you everything and he'll be clearing all your doubts regarding your web development or how to start this thing and how you'll be what scope you have for this field. And afterwards we have few announcements to be made. I hope you'll be waiting till then afterwards, after that you'll the Q&A session will be carrying on with the Q&A session, and then there will be a vote of thanks to say. Samiksha, you can take over.
Okay, thank you, Naman.
Yeah, it's visible.
Yeah. So hello everyone. A very warm and cheerful evening to all of you here. We welcome you all to the full stack web development webinar, which is going to be conducted right now. So first of all, hello everyone. I'm Samiksha. I am an employee of Techburn. So you guys might be wondering what's Techburn, like why this name Techburn. So for your information, burn is a Scottish term which means a child. So basically Techburn means tech child. So we here at Techburn want you guys to be well equipped with today's technology and become a tech child in your near future. So let me give you guys a brief about our company Techburn. It is a pioneer in the edtech industry, the fastest growing professional training program in the country. It is recognized by DIPP, Government of India, and supported by Startup India. Recognized collaborations with Google Education and Microsoft. So you guys might be wondering what's DIPP, like what is its full form or what it is actually. So for your information, DIPP, the full form of DIPP is Department of Industrial Policy and Promotion, and is basically responsible for the overall industrial policy. So we here aim to bridge the gap between academic and experiential learning. We offer a new opportunity to enthusiastic students for learning new technologies and making them industry ready. We are acting as a catalyst to make them industry fit. So here we are a student-friendly platform who would be helping you guys out in order to make you a better person who can reach out in the industrial field, who can grow. You guys can grow yourself very easily, and you guys can get good opportunities in the industrial field in the near future. Now, since you guys have joined the webinar related to full stack web development, let me brief you about some of the industrial trends which are being followed in India regarding full stack web developers. So first of all, it says the number of jobs for full stack web developers is growing at a rate of 30% year on year. Isn't it a huge number, like 30%? It's growing every year for more than 30%. Next one, it says about 1 million full stack developer profiles are expected to be created in 2020 alone. Remember, 2020 was the pandemic situation, and in that year only, more than 1 million profiles were created. Full stack web developers profiles were created. So it's growing, like the numbers are increasing at a huge pace. And the third one, and the most important one, regarding the salary. The average salary of a full stack web developer in India is about 7 lakhs, with maximum going up to 17 lakhs. So gear up, guys, to gain a lot of knowledge and then enjoy the lavish lifestyle you promised yourself to. So now I would ask Naman to introduce our guest speaker for today, Mr. Rahul Gupta. Naman, please take over from now.
Yeah, thank you, Samiksha. I would like to welcome our guest, Mr. Rahul Gupta, sir. He has already worked in L&T India as a full stack web developer, and he's currently working as a software engineer in Perennial systems.
Oh, so sorry about that. So before I start, let me give you a brief about myself. So I've been working now for 3 years as a web developer. I have worked in service-based tenancy as well as a startup, and I've also worked on entirely two different tech stack, that is Angular and React. Now, I will help you understand what the day-to-day role of a full stack web developer is, and how you can be prepared for that. So, for a full stack web developer, you will need the following requirements. There will be front end, back end, testing, debugging, and collaboration. So front end, if you are more interested into design based and developing applications where you can actually see the applications that you are developing, then that is what you are looking at as a front end developer. In case of backend, when if you are more interested into computation and calculation and data migration, as well as developing APIs which will back up a very large infrastructure, then that is what a backend developer looks like. Testing. Now, testing, you may be confused with as a tester, but even developers do testing. So I will also explain you details into testing, but keep in mind that when you are working as a developer, you will also be doing some basic testing. Debugging, you will not always be working as on the development project. There you will always encounter some issue or the other on a daily basis. So you should have understanding of the application so that you are able to debug and find what the actual issue is. And finally, collaboration. So when you're working on a project, you are working with multiple people, a large number of teams. You should be able to write code that your teammates are understanding, and you should be able to understand what your teammates are writing. Now let's dive into detail of these things. So backend development. So in backend development, there are different languages and frameworks that you can use. For example, the most popular ones are Node.js and Java right now. And say if you want to do some kind of fast-paced development, then you should opt for Node.js. And similarly for that, you can use Express as a framework. And as for Java, if you are into developing more precise, more secure, and enterprise level applications, then Java is your choice of language. And for that, Spring Boot is very popular for as a form of framework for it. Let's talk about database. So in database, there are multiple types of database that are available. However, the two most popular right now are relational and NoSQL based. So relational, you must have probably heard of MySQL and have also got a glimpse and worked on it in your curriculum. So MySQL and relational databases, these are the type of database where you need to be very sure what the data is available in the background. So you cannot expect there could be any discrepancy behind the scene. Like when we are talking about banking based application or any application which requires a high level security, that time you should go for the relational database. And NoSQL database, like for example MongoDB, they have a particular advantage is that they have dynamic schema. So when we are talking about applications such as restaurants or any article generating applications, so these do not require a very hard-coded or very specific amount of data in that, and their data dynamically changes keeps as the company keeps on growing. So NoSQL is a very good choice for that, because you do not need to predefine the schema. You can update it as you go and add as much data as you want. Now, these are the three things that you should be prepared for as while you're entering into industry. Apart from that, there are other four things that we actually work on a daily basis. You may or may not be able to grasp it right now, but you will be working on it once you join the industry. For example, the request and response cycle. So as a backend developer, you will be mostly working with APIs and building microservices. And you should be able to handle the requests and responses that are being sent from the server. So when we are talking about response, you should be able to handle what a error-based scenario would look like. You should be aware of what the different status codes are for the error. Like basic ones are 200, 400, 500, and then you can dive deeper into that. And this will be what we'll be focusing on as backend development. Now, the APIs that you develop, they will require a lot of documentation, because If you are working at the backend, that is the documentation is the only source of information that a front-end developer receives. So it is very important that you can document that. For that, we have multiple tools like Postman and Swagger. So you basically maintain the API list in that, and as front-end developers, when when the front-end is available, they can easily go through that tool and check the request and response and how the APIs are actually functioning, and they can prepare the front end accordingly. The environment. So there are multiple environments that are actually available for web development. When I say environment, they are basically different domains on which you can access the website. So the ones that you actually see as an end user when you access any website, they are actually the production based website. Before that, we have at least 4 levels that the website needs to go so that we can ensure that there is no issue occurring while the application is at production level. So the basic environments are available are development, test, UAT, and then finally production. The differences comes in that is that when the developers are working on the application, all the code that are pushed are going into the developer environment. Once they are assured that they have created the feature as per the requirement, they migrate it to the test environment. The test environment is actually for the testers who carry out rigorous testing on that and ensure that the feature developed is up to the mark. And then finally, once the tester gives it a green flag, it goes to the UAT environment. The UAT environment is actually for the product owners or any other stakeholder respect the application. They can just have the they can just go for a last detailing that the feature is actually working on a UAT level or not. And UAT also has additional advantage that the production database that is actually available, it has closest database that is a replica of that production database. And then finally, when the product owner also gives the green flag, it goes into production that you actually see that as finally, the version control. You must have heard of Git and GitHub. So Git is the popular version control that we use. So it would be very good for you if you are actually aware about some of the terms that are used with Git. You will be using 3 to 5 times a day when you're working as a full stack developer. So some of the basic commands like push, pull, commit, pull request, merge, these you should be a little familiar. If you are not hands-on with it, just be aware of it so that when you actually are giving interviews and enter into the industry, you will not be totally about it. Let's move on to the front end. So front-end development is basically for people who are more into design-based development work. So there are 2 major differences categories in these, that is the user experience and the UI. Now most companies have these as 2 different roles, and they have 2 different people who are actually monitoring these. So user experience is the design-based approach. That is basically the designers develop the website how it actually would look without the code itself. It's just a point-blank design. They develop the wireframes, which is then going to be used by front-end developers to develop the UI. So they will convert those wireframes into actual code. Now talking about the language. So you must be aware about HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. These are the basic languages that will be used for front-end development, no matter what framework, library, some additional CSS framework that you may use in different companies. You will always have to use HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So it will be always in your advantage if you can get your basics clear at the college level itself. Now, frameworks and libraries. So currently in the market, we are not actually using the HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for the final website. We use that inside a code, but we have a wrapper around it, which in the form of frameworks and library. You must have heard about Angular and React. So these are actually wrappers that are enclose those HTML, CSS, JavaScript, and provide you additional feature and optimized view of your website. So that is very much used in the current industry. So Angular, that is actually a framework, and React is a library. So they both have their advantage and disadvantage. If you are working with enterprise level application, so Angular will be a very good choice for you, because it will already have a lot of things inbuilt as it is a framework, and you will just have to plug in your code into that to produce an end result. And React, if you're looking for developing fast-paced application, you should opt for React, because there is no framework. You can actually develop your own structure, and as you go, you will be utilizing multiple libraries depending on what your requirement. Now, apart from this, there is also an additional term that you may not be aware of, is state management. So website, how they actually work is that they communicate with the server with APIs. So that is responsible for getting your data and transfer between the server and the client. But earlier, they used to use directly APIs, and as the user routed through multiple pages, those APIs would give you data, and you will be able to see there in the application. But nowadays, what we do is we have a state manager. Think about state management as a central repository in your application itself, on the browser itself, where all the data, every API call, everything that you have made, all the data that you're fetching from server, it is maintained there. And once it is maintained, it can be easily fetched in the front-end level from the central repository. So one library that we often use is Redux for state management. Now, coming to CSS, it is for fresher entering into the industry. Knowing basic CSS is very good. I can understand it will be difficult in the early stages. So, but there are add-ons that we use apart from the CSS. So there are like CSS frameworks. You must have heard of Bootstrap, Material UI, and Andy. So these are also used to increase the pace of development. Now, these highly vary from company to company, what they are using, which frameworks they are using. So do not depend on these frameworks a lot. So it is always better to go through the basic HTML, CSS, have a very good, strong hands-on on it, so that once, even if you are required to switch from framework to framework, you can easily do that, because at the end of the day, you are working on CSS only. Those frameworks that are available, they are only to make the work easy. CSS preprocessor, so this is just an additional wrapper on CSS, you can say. So for example, we have Sass and Less that we use. So if you have worked with CSS, you must have seen that it can be a little difficult to manage, because every CSS is written like one block at a time. Every property that you are writing with space separation is written one at a time. So it would be a lot better if we could nest them, if we could have variables, if we could have some predefined mixins. So these additional features are provided through the CSS preprocessor. Once you enter the industry, you will be bound to use these because it will really be helpful when you are developing large scale application. So it makes it easier to manage your style. Apart from this, there is a package manager. So when you're working with JavaScript, you will come across this. Like for example, we have npm yarn. So if you are using some library, then for JavaScript, you will be using any of these package managers. They are used for installing and updating these libraries in your application. HTTP client and status. So front-end developers do not need to have a very deep understanding into API development, but it will be but having an understanding about the HTTP client and status, like simple status codes, what it means, where it is 200 means okay, 400 means bad request, and 500 is server error. So these understanding, because you will be showing the user with some screen that are responsible for error handling. As for HTTP client, when you are using APIs, in order to make those API calls, you will be having multiple clients that you can use. The basic one is fetch, and the library which is right now most popular among us is Axios. So they are nothing but allow you to make API calls, which will in return give you the response from the server. And lastly, as a front-end developer, the browser tools, they will be like your best friends for a daily basis. So you will come across multiple issues, and having hands-on on these browser tools, like see being able to navigate through the network tab or the Redux store, or inspecting your different HTML elements and styling would be really helpful or for you on a daily basis. So currently, front-end developer has seen a lot of growth as compared to back-end development in the past few years, because of the single-page applications that I mentioned to you in the form of React and Angular. So they are kind of going at par with back-end right now. Testing. So as I said, we have separate testers for our applications who do rigorous testing of the application. But apart from that, as a developer, you will also be doing basic level of testing. Now, even in that, there are three categories that you will have to identify and do test of your application before you actually deploy it to the test environment. So one is the unit testing. Let's say, for example, you are developing a simple component, simple button. So that will have, when you test that button, that will come under the category of unit testing. You are just ensuring that one component is functioning as it is supposed to be function. Integration testing, when you are working with multiple components, let's say you want to see the login process is working fine, then integration testing is there. Like for example, you logged in successfully and there is some kind of pop-up available. So that time integration testing comes into place. And finally, automated testing. This may not be available everywhere, but it exists in most applications which are high on security and high on testing. Like if you are working with any financial fintech based application, then automation testing you will find yourself working on. So these automation testing are basically additional code that you will write, which will trigger an entire user process. The way you, for example, a user navigates through an application. Let's say I'm a user, I log in, I enter my email password and I log in, and I successfully log in and I see the home page. So this entire process will be coded in the form of one test. Sorry. And when you run this test, this entire process will be replicated in the browser. So it actually augments the process of testing for a tester as well as developer, because as you go on developing features, you will see that you can't always run the test by manually. So just running the automated test would show you the entire process in almost in a few seconds. So that is for testing. Then there are additional things that you can do while you're in college that you should really focus on. So they are build your resume. So resume is going to be a challenging process as a fresher, because you do not have experience, any industry level experience. Maybe you did some certification, maybe if you are really good, you must have done some internship and got on some actually industry level applications to work on. So start building your resume now. It will take a really lot of time to build your resume. Make sure that your resume is sticks to one page, because when you are a fresher, there's not much that you can showcase over there. And as well as even after like 2 or 3 years into the industry, if you can maintain your resume in one page, it will be a plus for yourself, because when recruiters go through one job application, they receive at least like 1,000 or 2,000 applications for one job profile, because there are so many web developers available right now. So you do not want to take much of their time. They will rarely give you few seconds to your, they'll give you one glance at your resume. So if it is available in one page and very understandable to him so that he can understand in just few seconds, then you can hope to get the call from them. So start building it and improvise as you go. And always make sure that when you're applying, you should have an updated resume always ready, because if you make some delay that, okay, I'll update my resume and come back to you, then this will not look good on yourself. So apart from that, maintain your LinkedIn as well. LinkedIn account is very good for maintaining your profile. You should start making connections in different companies that you are hoping to work at. These small network connection that you make today will actually help you when you are trying to get a job in any company, because they are receiving so many applications on day-to-day basis. If you have someone you can directly contact through a message, you will have at least one opportunity that they will see your resume and they may consider you for the interview process. So start maintaining your LinkedIn. This will be a long time throughout your career. While you are in the corporate industry, this profile will be what you will be judged on the first step. Third is the GitHub. So since you are going to be working as a developer and your interview process will be taken by developers themselves, so make sure that you have some form of project that you have uploaded on the GitHub repo, because the interviewer needs to see how much you have worked on, and if you are able to showcase your past project on GitHub, it will tell him two things. One, you are already aware about the Git flow, and second, your coding style will be easy for them to see. So whether you follow some kind of industry standard or the project that you have entered shows some consistency in the form of how often you push your code and so on. Uh, this this one this one advantage, I'll tell you, the current company I'm working at was actually taking my interview process, and I was going to join them as an Angular developer, but they were also interested in hiring me as a React developer. So I did not have a very, I would say 100% understanding of React, but I was still learning at that process and I had 50% into it. So when I went there and in the final round, I was asked to showcase some work. That time I had an application which was both created in Angular and React, and that was a very good plus point for me. And that was, I think, one of the turning points which helped me get a job at the current firm I'm working at. So these three are the basic things that you can, these are more doable for you as while you're doing working at college. There are two additional things if you can do, it will be really great for you and they will be helping you in the long run. That is, maintain your Stack Overflow account as well as maintain your portfolio. Stack Overflow you might have used to find answers to your question. In addition to that, you can also give answers, which you must be aware. So if you are frequently giving answer and some of your answers are actually recognized, then most of the job application, when we apply for them in the industry, they ask for your Stack Overflow account. So one of the advantage that you will get is that you have that account and they have seen your past few years of activity. So that will be very advantageous for you. Then portfolio. So as I asked you to maintain your GitHub repo, those projects, if you are a front-end developer, it will be easy to make your project as visible through the hosting website. So those you can add in your portfolio. And I can understand that you may not have any project available right now which you can think that it is good to showcase, but start building your portfolio even if it is a small component or a mini application, so that when you actually start your career, you will be building on top of that. Don't wait for you yourself to get into the job and start building portfolio. These two things will also really help you as you go navigating through the corporate world. Then problem solving phase. So this is one of the most underrated and overlooked place subject that I would say. Even when I was in college, I did study it, but I cannot emphasize more as how important this is, especially for freshers. When you go for interviews, they will be looking at your problem solving skills, because when they cannot expect you to have already industry level understanding of tech, so there is only way to get a understanding on your skills to make give you some traits on your skill, is to see how well you can solve problems. So for that, data structures and algorithm is the best way. It gives you a very small environment uh, where you can work on, and you can actually show that if in a certain environment, in a fixed environment, if you are given a small problem, you can actually solve that. That will really help you, because this is a very difficult subject. It takes years to master. So if you start early, then it will be really good for you, because 2 3 years down the line you will be at a much higher level than your colleagues that you are working with. So start working on this, and they will be definitely will be asking you. Probably your entire one round of interview will be based on it. And this was almost like when I entered into industry, it was asked to me for uh, each and every interview process. And even after 3 years of experience, they may not include it as an entire interview round, but they have at least half an hour or half the interview round based on it, because they want to judge if I can solve those problems or not. So start working on it. It is difficult, but you will need some time and you can develop it. So this is all from my side. Hope you guys got a glimpse into what working as a full stack developer means in today's industry. And if you guys want to ask any questions, sure do.
Yeah, thank you, Rahul sir, for such a good interaction and such plenty of knowledge. So, guys, I have few announcements to make. So, this was just a teaser, like what the web development is. So, we provide a detailed course on full stack web development. This course is named as WebMonk. So the link will be provided to you soon in the chat box by one of our executives. You can go there and you can register for that. And how we are different from the different, like how we are different from the other companies, like what you will be learning extra from this course and what you will be achieving. So this is not just an ongoing course and you'll be getting a certificate and then not as simple as that. So like you'll be starting from what we say, we'll be tracking each and every detail of yours, that how you are improving and all. And you will be we will be providing you a few badges, like you'll be getting badges after completing each step. So like we have designed our course in such way. So like the badges will be based on your performance. For example, there will be a bronze badge for beginners. Then afterwards, it will be upgrading to silver and gold and then platinum, which is the rare badge which people get. And these badges will be on your certificate, which will be provided to you. So you can just go there and you can register for this course. I would like to say one of my executives to post the links to. So now you please post the links to register. You can see in detail like what the course provides, and a handout is provided there. So the other thing is like we also hire an intern. You will be also hiring an intern based on your performance. So if you are the best, you will be getting hired. So what all you will be learning from this course? You will be learning HTML5, CSS3, Bootstrap from scratch, and JavaScript, React with Redux. And in the backend, you'll be learning Express.js and Node.js and MongoDB and all. And that will be taught by our sir, Rahul sir and Alpit Anand sir. So these two trainers will be handling everything, and it will be explained to you in detail.
Yes, along with the development part, you will also be taught testing and debugging as well.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for the event. So now I would be having a vote of thanks for everyone. So, our distinguished guest and my dear participants, on behalf of Techburn, its entire fraternity, and the organizing committee, I take immense pleasure to propose a vote of thanks to our eminent speaker, Mr. Rahul Gupta, software engineer, Perennial System, who spared the time from his busy schedule to grace this webinar with his extremely relevant presentation on full stack web development. I hope you guys got whatever he told till now. He rightly talked about the knowledge and experience which one could gain with a lot of hard work combined with an enlightening mentorship. We here at TechBan will help you achieve your goal of getting your dream job without letting this pandemic affect your situation. We are a student friendly platform and want the students to be benefited at the end of the day. So, at the end of the day. So, my heartfelt and deep sense of appreciation and thanks to all the participants who chose to be live with us and attended the webinar with great enthusiasm and made it a successful event. Once again, I thank you all for being with us this evening. Have a wonderful day ahead. I would like to end this webinar with with few inspiring words, which goes: technology is a gift of God. After the gift of life, it is perhaps the greatest of God's gift. It is the mother of civilizations, of arts, and of sciences. So, guys, get ready to use this technology to benefit you in every way possible. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. Have a wonderful day ahead. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.